All right, so who's been in drag before? I know you have. Oh, excellent. Oh, most people have been in drag before. All right, so for those of you who have not been in drag before, for those of you who aren't me, I just want to explain a little bit about the first time that I was in drag and how I created my drag character. So I lived in New York for many, many years, and there's nightclubs there that are performance venues much like this. There's one called the Duplex Cabaret, there's another one called like the East Side Bar. I used to do a lot of sort of experimental stuff when I was a student in New York, and I was a dancer, and I was always trying a lot of things. So I did a show that was called Transsexuals on the Run.
Oh yeah, okay.
Yes. Now there was a very famous film called Nuns on the Run with like Eric Idle or something like that, so I think it was a bit of a rip-off of that. And the premise for the show was that I was the Italian mob boss's son, possibly named Bruno, I can't remember at this point. And we were in trouble with the mob, so we had to go and hide in a finishing school for pre-op transsexuals. So that was the premise. That was the premise of the comedy. And so of course, there was like a rival mob boss with his son, who was also very machismo. And then of course there was an actress named Deborah, who was an amazing actual biological woman who played the head of the finishing school, and there was Jack, who was also another like for real person who was going to go through the transition. And so I had to play Bruno / Buffy. Now you probably can't tell, but I used to be a bit more buff, as we say in the gay scene, so muscular. Which is why I was Buffy. So what would happen in the show was that I would do the show. There was this scene where, of course, the rival mob boss and his son came, and there was, potential of a shootout, and we ran off stage, and in 30 seconds, I had to transition from Bruce, or Bruno, I can't remember his name, into Buffy. Now, this was also the early 1990s, so Fran Drescher from The Nanny, Mrs. Sheffield, was really popular. And so I had to run off stage. Now, this is what you have to do, or I don't know, this is what we used to do. I don't know, we still do the same thing. So I had to do a tuck for the first time in my life. Now, if you don't know what that means, it means that I take my penis and you tuck it between your legs, and then you use gaffer tape across here and around onto one naked butt cheek and the other. And that puts everything into place, and then you can put on your skin-tight dress, your bolero jacket, your Fran Drescher wig, and become Buffy for the rest of the show. And that is what I did. And the heels as well, the stiletto heels. Yeah, so you can picture it. It was pretty beautiful. I don't have a picture to share with you right now, but I'll try to find one. And so it was actually a very successful show, and we moved from one theater to another theater, and my parents came to see it. And that was probably one of my proudest moments on stage, where I, as Buffy, towards the end of the show, had to bend over to get something. And the rival mob boss's son sort of ran into the back of me, and his father, said, "Oh, that's not really a woman. That's a man dressed as a woman." And in very Some Like It Hot, if you've ever seen the Marilyn Monroe show, the response was, "Well, I think nobody's perfect. I think she's beautiful." And that was me creating Buffy. That's my story.